Sex trafficking bust. Several suspected gang members arrested, accused of forcing young girls into prostitution. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being with us. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. I'm Marla Tejas.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Devine. Federal prosecutors here in LA say this is the first major takedown of a sex trafficking operation on that infamous Figueroa Street.
Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards.
You from the trenches, you know. We all know about some P's, right? We all know about some 16s and 304s. But what we finna get into today, this is not P's, right? This is kidnapping, brutality, PDF activities that we don't condone in the streets, whether you thugging or P's, right? This don't follow the rules to no game. The Hoover Rico indictment on some trafficking, right? With P4K in it, right? Now, we all heard about P4K. We already heard about his mix. We all seen his video, him doing this thing, him going bad on the bitch, on the blade, right? But it's getting much more deeper and much ugly. So we gonna just check out rap news, street politics, right? We finna react to what he was talking about, because ain't nobody doing it like rap news, street politics right now. When it comes to them LA politics, dude is #1 for sure. So let's check out the video. I heard the story roughly. What I heard so far, just they was pimping them minors, man, and that ain't peas at all. So let's check out rap news politics and see what he got to say about the situation.
With the Hoover Rico indictment. Now, we only 5 months down the line from when the 6-0s got wrapped up in the Rico, and the feds stayed in the city and came over to Fig, taking down 11 people where they got some nasty allegations. And I gotta say, I gotta give a warning to y'all that's listening. It's gonna be some raw details with what the feds are alleging these defendants have done. Now, again, everything is just allegations. They innocent until proven guilty. But you already know how the feds is coming, man. They've done their homework, and they really started it by piecing together everything about the Hoovers. Now, you know,
Two things before we continue for you ninjas out there in the streets. One thing, when you posting your dirt on social media, you ain't innocent and proven guilty. You actually guilty and proven innocent, because they gonna be like, explain this shit. That's one. Dumb niggas on the internet. Number two, the Olympics is coming to LA. So y'all YNs out there, y'all players making moves out there, y'all better get y'alls together. Y'all better lay low. Y'all better stay low key or OT or ride solo dolo. Do your own thing. You might gotta level down a notch until 2028 pass. I am telling you, this is not the last Rico that's about to hit LA. Trust me, I promise you.
On this case, y'all know we got Lady Duck as the lead defendant on this case. And a lot of people ask, how's the only female on this case the lead defendant? For y'all that's in the city, y'all done heard her name before. Y'all may know her. You already know Lady Duck is not playing. She was already sitting down on the state case for 30 flocks and had a release date. And now the feds have put the squeeze on her, and they finna take everybody down to MDC. And just to give y'all an idea of what Lady Duck got going on in this indictment, the feds got somebody on tap trying to sell Lady Duck a female for a rack. And if Lady Duck didn't want her, they said they was gonna sell her organs across the border. Lady Duck replied, what she look like? So that's the type of role they allege Lady Duck is playing in this indictment. But not only is Lady Duck on...
Hold on. I don't know how a nigga could just say that and just go over that like some regular occurrence and go on to the next topic of things. Hold on, somebody had a little minor, right? Or a female, a 304, and was trying to sell her to Lady Duck because they know she about some pimping. And if Lady Duck didn't want her, they was gonna sell her organs. Where them niggas at? Where are them niggas at? Was they Hoovers? Was they randoms? Who are them niggas who know who buy people organs? That's what I want to know. That's even deeper than this shit, right? Who's selling female organs across the border? Who got the plug for that? And if you got the plug for that, you didn't already did that. So whoever she was talking to, they phone needed to be tapped immediately, and a Rico need to be done on that too. And if y'all don't know, because it don't be reported on the news like that, it's a crisis going on. It's like 150,000 black kids missing right now, bro. And you mean to tell me our own people is participating in this? Death penalty. And so, like I said, I that means they already do this. That means whoever said that already done this and do this before. What a other Rico for the body trafficking of these young women and they organs, bro.
They said they was gonna sell her organs across the border. Lady Duck replied, what she look like? So that's the type of role they allege Lady Duck is playing in this indictment. But not only is Lady Duck on here, y'all know we got P4K out the Baby Stone Gorillas from BPS. Everything they was saying about dude, the feds are alleging that him and pretty much everybody else was involved in some nasty activity on Fig. Now with the Rico, you know they saying that the Hoovers are an enterprise, a full organization that's running a monopoly on the west side of South Central. And as the feds put it, they are operating from 4 Trey to the one-way. But not only do they got the Rico charge, they got the sex trafficking of the minors by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation of a minor, sexual exploitation of a minor. They got drug trafficking, money laundering, and they got the firearm purchases stacked up against these dudes. But overall, it's 24 victims, with 8 of them being minors. And what I've seen is ranging from ages 14 to 17. Some crazy work that's being alleged in this indictment. But this whole situation started off in February 2021 and ended last week.
And before we get into the grits and potatoes, P4K from Baby Stone Gorillas, he been bad peoples for a while now. You feel me? From getting marked out in the courtroom to letting Dodie Six disrespect his hood, and the video we seen on him putting hands on a female on the blade. So it don't surprise me that he in this, he been bad peoples.
7th, 2025, where they unsealed this indictment and turned the heat up on everybody. Now, February 9th, 2021, Lady Duck was caught with 9 racks, some fake pills that had that fentanyl in it, and a scale for distribution. This is the starting point where everything started to go left. And this is when the feds started to fully build their case on the Hoovers as a whole, not just the pimping. They pretty much got everything except for murders in this indictment surrounding the Hoovers. They've been.
So Lady Luck, she was trapping in human trafficking, you feel me? She was pushing a cold hard line, and now she finna have to walk that. You know what I'm saying? Now you finna have to pay for that. I hope you had a ball, because she gonna be behind them walls for an indefinite amount of time. Allegedly, if this is true, they found guilty. This damn near basically a life sentence, you hear me?
Complex case because it has more than 8 defendants. It got 11 total. Well, like we said, Lady Duck, P4K, Vermont Star, Tiny 3, Folo, J Money, Young Pope, and a few other dudes who are either associates or members of one of the Hoover sets in LA. And Vermont Star is the same dude that we spoke on in our Swan video, the dude that just robbed Day 3 homie of his chains. And Tiny 3 is King off Manchester, another rapper coming out the Hoovers.
Doing heads, pulling skits, nigga better keep a tool on him. 10 bands for a headshot and we gon' stand on. My cousin Wooty whoopin' Wooty wham, nigga, land on me. Fuck said trophy, nigga, long live the dead homie, man.
Now, a thing that we gotta stress, like we said, Young Pope, P4K, we gotta let you that all these defendants helped each other in one way or another in this human trafficking ring, whether it was with the minors or the adults. Everybody played a hand in keeping the grip on the operation. And everybody knows Fig, and we know what hood is on Fig. It said that to operate on Fig, you have to be in good standing with the Hoovers. And they also alleged that some people was paying taxes to play ball on Fig with some of the feet out there. But overall, that fear factor is what the feds are using to glue the Hoovers to a whole enterprise, resulting in this.
Now, if you know, you know. And apparently the feds know now. But that been going on Fig for years, and on the Hoover section of the Fig where they be thick at and doing their thing. That been going on for years. They would kidnap the P's 304s, right? And then had they 304s call they P's, and they P's that had to buy they 304s back, you feel me? So that's why it now makes sense earlier when old girl from when Lady Duck got the call that they had a little female and they'll sell it to her for $1,000, that all plays back. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I remember a long time ago, I ain't gonna put no names on it, but there once was a P, right, who got his little 304 snatch, and they said, hey, and they was snatched by the Hoovers, and they said, if you want your 304 back, give us $1,500 right now, and we will give her to you, right? So the P pulled up to get his 304 back. He pulled up to a house in the Hoovers, and they had his 304 in the garage with 5 or 6 other 304s. So that P paid the Hoovers $1,500 to get his 304 back, and it was another 304 in there, and her P was on the phone, and the Hoovers told him $1,500, and that P said you could keep that hoe, right? And that hoe told the other P, well, can you please buy me? I will pay your choosing fee. I'll choose up right now. This get me up out of there. So that been going on on Hoover, on Fig for a minute. The Hoovers kidnapping your broad, right, and making you pay to get her back. This is nothing new. This generation didn't start that. That been going on, but niggas done finally got a Rico in it. That's why you don't put the gang banging with the pimping. You hear me? So when Lady Duck got that phone call and they offered her a bra for $1,000, that was a kidnapped 304 who pimp didn't want to pay for her back, or she was a kidnapped renegade 304 without no folks. You hear me? So now it all makes sense. But the Oregon part of the game, that was a whole nother level. Now that's new to this shit. You feel me?
Resulting in this Rico. And the key thing that y'all gotta realize is the same shit every time. Instagram. Not only are these dudes using these music videos, but they using Instagram to prove the allegations in these indictments. The guns and the drugs are being shown on Instagram, shown in the music videos, and along with the weapon seizures and the seizure of the drugs, the feds are saying that the Hoovers are using this and keeping drugs and weapons around to protect their assets in these 2 motels and the clothing store. And they said it was also using the clothing store and the motels as stash spots for guns and drugs. And even though dudes like P4K is not from Hoover, they were still involving themselves in Hoover politics and in the Hoover enterprise. BPS is not mentioned once other than as an ally of Hoover in this indictment. But overall, the feds are alleging 441 overt acts that they using against all 11 of these defendants. So overt acts are going to be specific crimes and elements that the feds use as probable cause to set forth the indictment. And again, there's 441 different acts or crimes that were committed. Now, the feds start off by saying most of these defendants was branding their names, tattooing their names on these victims, some adults and some minors, with Lady Duck having her name on 4 people, Hands having his name on at least 2 people, Folo, aka Figure 4, also had his name on at least 3 people. Info had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her face. And Vermont Star had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her neck. Now,
the self-snitching in this case is diabolical. This whole case is diabolical. Now, that's one thing that I don't like that they start putting in the game with the ism. They start tatting their names on these 304s. That's something you don't do. That's something you don't do. That's niggas going too deep in mind control on the broad, figuring if I get a tattoo on this broad, get my name tattooed, and it lasts forever, this is gonna play a mental psychology on the broad to keep her down for you and whatnot. I don't know why niggas do it, but to me, it's the dumbest thing that niggas had enter into the pimp game. That's like putting your name and information on a dead body. That's like doing. That's like putting your name and information on a dead body, right? That's like putting your name and information on a brick of dope. You hear me? It's the same thing. Self-snitching and then the internet. That's this generation. I can't blame the youngins for tatting their names on their work, even though that's stupid, because the past generation was doing that, and a lot of them was getting away with it. But when you do that with a minor, you're terrible. That's terrible. First of all, you shouldn't be pimping on a minor. Second of all, when they see that's a minor and see that tat on them, you automatically a target. They got to find out who Lady Duck is. They going to look through gang files. They going to do what they got to do. They going to find out who you is, and that's a wrap. Why would you ever tat your name on your work, especially a minor, bro? But The internet thing, that's a new generation thing. Telling on themselves, posting they spots where they hang out at, the shopping stores, everything they doing get broadcasted, because niggas don't do this to survive anymore and just to have things and just to be able to eat and help mama with the bills and get mama out the ghetto and get the fam out the situation. Niggas do it for the clout. Niggas do it for the broads. Niggas do it for the attention. Niggas do it because they want to see niggas say, oh, you a real nigga getting money, blah, blah, blah. So you got to show niggas you a real nigga. No, real niggas is unknown. You know what I'm saying? It's best to be a unknown real nigga for real, for real.
It's a hood trophy. They got this in the indictment say she's one of the lifelines of the set. And they got J Money on the conversation telling somebody that Lady Duck has been holding the set down money-wise for a long time. And it was time for him to start increasing his profits in the streets for the hood. So situations like these is why Lady Duck is seen as the lead defendant in this case. Like I said, she was already down for 30 flocks in 3 different counties and was in custody since July of last year. But they got her on tape beating multiple females, and there was that one tape that came out in the store where she was seen beating that pregnant female, where she alleged that that female was dissing the Hoovers.
All right.
What, bitch? I hope you got the same dress on, bitch.
What?
Fuck wrong with you, bitch, when you dissing the set, bitch.
No, I dropped my
On the
friend
dead
right
food,
here.
bitch. ACG, this bitch on the set. Say sorry,
I'm
bitch.
pregnant.
Bitch, say sorry, bitch, for dissing the set.
But right before she went down for them flocks, April 26, 2024, she's seen at that Stadium Inn with a 14-year-old girl. Now, her and J Money both had hands in lacing this 14-year-old girl up, but she was the main person in dealing with this little girl. And the crazy part is, dudes was actually out here dealing with little girls. At one point, they said this girl had $200 at 2 a.m. And by 4 p.m. the next day, she had $1,500, bringing it straight to Lady Duck. And it got so crazy where the little girl's family ended up finding her at Stadium Inn, and Lady Duck told one of her homies that she's starting to look like a child predator out here dealing with this little girl. Now, like I said, J Money was with her, and all these dudes was around this situation with a 14-year-old girl outside. But like I said, Lady Duck extremely active in this section. When they needed burners, they was calling Lady Duck. She was caught on a phone call with an undercover space circulating, and she replied that Hoover want his head.
Come on now, P's. Come on now, P's. First of all, y'all predators. You a predator for yimping on a 14-year-old. You's a predator, right? Serve that ass whoop, belt the ass every day behind them walls. 2, how you think the gang guy gonna bless you? You thought you was gonna be blessed in this mess? You thought you was gonna come out clean, pimping down on a 14-year-old? You know what I'm saying? A 17 turning 18 in a couple months. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a little bit different. It's still teenagers, right? But a 14-year-old? Was that a freshman in high school? That's a freshman in high school? They throwing y'all under the jail. And before they throw y'all under the jail, throw y'all all in enemy tank solo to get y'all ass whooped. Dead homies.
And one of the main people she was dealing with was P4K. Now, you know, P4K to the internet, he made a cold turn to the pimping. As soon as the rapping started to slow down, everybody saw it. The Baby Stones stopped producing music at the rate that they was producing it at, and P4K really took on this whole pimping moniker. And the feds started to use his rapping with glorifying the pimping and the gangbanging to build this case against him. But this dude was out here leveraging his rapping career, telling females that they could go on tour with him if they hit the blade for him. But on January 1st, 2023, it's like this nigga made the New Year's resolution to get pimping because the feds got him posting an ad for females to apply to his pimping and saying all applicants must be obedient. Again, all of this done on social media, Instagram. Now, after that ad in January 2023, July 2023, P4K with a 16-year-old female. And not only was he trafficking her, the feds alleged that he was also having an intimate relationship with this 16-year-old girl as well in 2023. And like I said, he was seen with many Hoovers, but he was in deep communication with Lady Duck. At one point, In the audio recording in the Instagram message, P4K stated to Lady Duck that he pimps minors over the age of 16 and under the age of 18. He admitted it out of his own mouth in his own audio recording, allegedly. So all the bad shit people were saying about P4K, you know, when you had them charges, that's one thing. But now when you get this paperwork, it's a whole nother ball game. When you got the discovery on somebody, it's not looking good for this dude, and it's not looking good for any of these defendants. They all look like the bad people. And we seen a clip of Smack from back on Fig speaking about the child trafficking on Fig.
What is we gonna do about the prostitution out there and these kids walking Figueroa?
So,
no kids gotta go to school and see this.
So let me just tell you, that's an issue that when we started in the 90s, we were dealing with as well. The difference is that the women, there were women that were on the streets then. Now they're girls that are on the street.
Babies.
Almost across the board, the girls are from the foster care system.
And you know, some people look at it in a way as if Smack was telling on the Hoovers, anything like that. My thing is, these is the bad people. Everybody in this case dealing with minors is bad.
And P4K is definitely bad peoples. P4K is definitely bad peoples. So let me get this straight, P. You know what I'm saying? Let me get this straight, P's. Right? So you a rapper, right? Got a little rap career going. Y'all got motion, right? You put up an ad to solicit some 304s and you knock a 16-year-old. You a rapper, Lil Fame, definitely West Coast LA fame, and you can't get a grown 304? What happened to going into the strip club and getting the bad one? You performing, right? You on tour, you doing, know what I'm saying? Pull up to the strip club for a performance on the low. You know what I'm saying? Lower your price, perform at the strip club and get you something bad. And if you knock one in the strip club, now you could get it legal. You know what I'm saying? Now they can't even touch you, right? Now you just pull up at the strip club at the end of the night, pick up your chick, and she can hand you whatever. And they can't charge you with nothing, right? Because she got it in a legal way. So she can hand it to you in a legal way. Brodusky, right? Youngster, like what's wrong? Like how you a rapper? And the best thing you can knock is a minor? What?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping. What is up, man?
I know this regular nigga off the block, right? You got a little status behind you. And you got to knock a minor. And then you admit that on audio. Talking about 16 to 18 like you like him young. You like him young. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick was on Drake. We got some baby Drakes in our own backyard.
So Lady Duck, after she had that 14-year-old girl, May 2024, they got her on a phone call with Info talking about the hood is hot right now, and he's specifically hot, and that they coming to the hood to pick up these minors off the blade. And everything was well known and publicized between these members from Hoover. Now with P4K, what we all seen was when he was beating on that chick on the blade. We had it in our blood report card video, him whooping on the chick from the blade. That whole situation, the backstory of that is crazy. So Info, again, Naziz Harris, a flagrant offender in this case. He had a 17-year-old girl earlier this year in January 2025 working for him. P4K ended up knocking the 17-year-old girl and taking her back to Harris, and both of them made the female choose. The female ended up choosing P4K, and Info basically asked P4K if he can punch on the female, the 17-year-old girl, as an exit fee. P4K allowed him to punch on the girl and took the female to Fig. Now, of course, shortly after she hit Fig, she went back to Info and left P4K and got back down on the blade for Info. P4K ends up pulling back up on her, and that's where we see him beating on that female on the blade. That was a little girl. And of course, the feds seen that, and they also are alleging that that video was a scare tactic that P4K intentionally put on the internet to show his other females that they need to be obedient to his pimping.
She said she got wet every time. What?
Oh shit.
Hey,
don't put me on no camera.
Nigga, I'm coming hard about mine.
Yeah.
They just put up.
I'm coming hard about my bitch, nigga. Play with my bitch again, nigga. My bad.
Now, the feds allege that all these dudes was targeting females that was, of course, in foster care, runaways, and females that just grew up around the blade and somewhat close to the lifestyle. And
This is a non-contact sport, yimping. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, you playing contact sport with a minor yimping, you asking to be under jail forever. You asking to be under the jail forever. It's second, when do letting a hoe you just not pay her ex folks an exit fee by getting her head beat in? How she gonna make your money? Out there beat up and bruised, busted head, busted ribs, busted mouth. How she gonna get your paper, please? Y'all some retardeds. You know what I'm saying?
close to the lifestyle. And of course, they know they was dealing with minors, so they was providing fake IDs, and some kidnapping was involved. Now, like I said with Info, Naziz Harris, he was told multiple times by his homies that dealing with minors was dangerous. But again, not only was he trafficking these females, he's also beating on them. He was going around the hood telling people how the minors is snitching on him about him pistol whipping them. But he had another 17-year-old girl around that same time where P4K had knocked him for the other minor. And the feds are alleging that he was producing explicit content with this little girl, along with beating on her and getting her hooked on pills. And what blew this dude up, he take this little girl across country, end up getting stopped, and the folks find this pistol. He tells this 17-year-old girl to take the charge for him. And of course, she snitches on him in Nebraska. Nebraska put out the human trafficking of a minor charge on him, and he goes down in March 2025. And after that, they still have him pimping over the jail phone to his feet back in California. But somebody he was in heavy communication with was Young Poke. Now, Young Poke is probably the worst person in this indictment in terms of allegations. Young Poke, real name Keandre Young. He started off with the 15-year-old girl, and then the feds allege that he starts having an intimate relationship with the 15-year-old girl, and then they uncover, again, explicit content between Young Poke and this little girl. Multiple pieces of content though. Then he goes ahead and secures a 17-year-old girl and whoops her feet in front of everybody. And this is when his other little females, his adult females, are approaching him about dealing with minors. And he goes on to berate them about how the minors are bringing in more paper than them. And then after all of that, he gets another 15-year-old girl. And this dude had the nerve to tell Info that dealing with minors was dangerous. And at one point, he threatened a 17-year-old girl with Lady Poke, saying he was going to have Lady Poke pull up and put them hands on her. But when the female tried to leave him, he goes on, ends up beating the girl and holding her hostage for 7 days straight. And the feds are alleging that he RAPE'd the chick as well, man. All bad dealing with these minors. And this is another reason why they say the gang banging and the pimping don't mix, man. These niggas went wild. They was doing too much. At one point, Info was in communication with Young Poke about one of his girls. The 17-year-old girl was saying that her head was hurt. Info asked her if she wanted to go to the hospital. She said no, because I'm not going to be able to explain these bruises on my face. Mind you, this is a kid. Now, Young Poke also had another 16-year-old girl with him, and when the feds caught up to him, he had a screenshot of Department of Child Services trying to get in contact with her because he had gaffled her up. And they further glued him to the enterprise when he recorded and posted when the Hoovers caught them dudes from Main Street slipping. And they had posted the video dissing the Main Streets and whooping on some shit. Now with Flakko, aka Figure 4, he was on some whole other shit. Of course, the feds are alleging that they was in multiple states. Of course, Vegas is one of them, but they was at least operating in 9 different states. Flakko was out here training his females to have them sticky fingers. And everybody sees it that this situation happened because all these females is talking. The feds have made contact with all 24 of these victims clearly, and they all snitching. And when you putting these females in these bad positions, having them yanking the clients, they running and scared for their life. You having them taking gun charges, they gon' tell on your ass. But it said Figure 4 sent his chick to steal a Rolex, and when she came back, he punched her in the back of the head. Like I said, he was putting her in the line of fire, putting himself in the line of fire. and they alleged that he ripped her hair out, she pointed a gun at him, and he ended up breaking the female nose. Now, right before Lady Duck went down in 2024, she already knew that the feds was on them. I don't know if it was because of the flocking, but she made multiple statements that spots were under investigation, including hers on 88. The people that rolled up there and they noticed somebody throwing a gun out of her house. They had a lot of people meeting up and a lot of the females on 88th as well. But I believe it's because they was making the spot hot. Dudes like J Money. The feds also alleged he was branding females with tatting his name on their face. But after the chick got his name tatted on the face, he ends up hitting the bitch with the car and told her no matter where she go, he gonna groove her ass. They was truly gorilla pimping out here, man, squeezing these females and these minors for everything they had. And then Matthew Brooks, Buddha, aka Vermont Star, the bad people. He also had himself a 17-year-old little girl on the blade, and he was beating on her. The feds got him allegedly stuffing the chick in the trunk and driving with her from Fig all the way to Riverside. And when they got to Riverside, he beat on her some more. Now, the 17-year-old female ended up getting pregnant by Vermont Star, telling him she got pregnant, and he kicked her in the stomach to where she started to bleed out of a specific place of her body. Y'all know what I'm saying? And then he proceeded to stab her in the leg with a pair of scissors. 17-year-old girl. Now, after this, he ends up shooting at the female, almost hitting her in the face, and he beat her again, chipping her tooth and knocking her braces loose. Now, on top of this, like I said, they was already patrolling Fig. I said people have to be sanctioned to play ball on Fig. He caught somebody that wasn't sanctioned with Info and Tiny 3. They robbed this dude, stole his car, and they took it to a chop shop and chopped it up. So like I said, the pimping and the gangbanging, they doing both. It really blew everything up, along with, of course, doing the nasty work, dealing with minors. Now, Tiny 3, like I said, he was with Gray on that move, but Tiny 3 was also tripping. T-John Gray.
Yeah, see, I can't with these niggas no more. I can't with these niggas no more. They was intentionally targeting minors. No pimping in that game. This wasn't no pimping. This was kidnapping. You know what I'm saying? This was kidnapping. There was no P's involved. It is, man. These niggas ran amok. They gonna go under the jail. All this shit that's in this video, stabbing them with scissors, throwing them in the trunk, driving them from LA to Riverside. You know what I'm saying? Knocking their braces off. Minors at that. Like, you'll get life doing this to a grown woman. But the kidnapping, the beating, in the essays, these dudes ain't never getting out. Good night, they gone. And I'm gone, man. I can't watch out of this though, bro. These was a gang of pedophile child abusers. And if they guilty, they gonna die in that thing. Believe me. Trust me. Till then, man, I'm gone.